Why habits are so hard to break. That's what we're tackling today. We're going to talk about how a habit's developed, whether that's a good habit or a bad habit, how it's developed, where it gets transferred to, and then why it's so hard for us to break that habit. Habits are formed on a dopamine circuit. So every habit has three elements, right? It has the trigger, it has the response, and it has the reward. That reward is a spike in dopamine. And we have that spike in dopamine because we are telling our bodies, look for that again in the future. And when that trigger comes around, oh, that's the trigger from before. We liked that spike of dopamine. Let's give them another hit of dopamine. Eventually, that gets transferred to what I call the habit circuit. And the habit circuit is the endocannabinoids. Yes, it's the same cannabis. Yes, it's kind of the same thing, but it's something that we're naturally producing within our body. And when that habit becomes long-term, we don't even realize the pleasure anymore. We're just kind of doing the habit. For me, it's potato chips. I would get great pleasure out of eating potato chips. The crackle of it, the taste of it on my tongue. And there are times when I'm just laying on the couch and I'm just popping potato chips. I don't even realize that I'm doing it. That's because it's on that habit circuit. It's off that dopamine circuit. It's transferred to that habit circuit. Why do we fail at breaking that habit? Why is it that I know I shouldn't be eating the potato chips while I'm laying on the couch watching Netflix, but I'm still there crunching like a squirrel in the bird feeder, right? Like there's just chips flying all over the place. Why is that? It's because when we form a habit, it's on the dopamine loop. When we try and break the habit, it's using willpower and logic. It's in the prefrontal cortex. We're thinking about, we know that we shouldn't be doing it, and we're thinking about that. And that is pushing against the habit circuit. But the habit circuit's been ingrained over so much time that logic and willpower just isn't going to do it. Because it's like wrestling, right? Like if you were wrestling or if you were running, let's do running a mile. Imagine if you had to get out of your chair right now and go run a mile. At some point in time, you'd just run out of energy. You would just stop running. That's your willpower losing the battle against that habit that's been there for so long. It's ingrained in you. You see, when we form a habit, we get pleasure out of that, right? We get a reward. It's reinforced through that dopamine spike. But when we want to break the habit, when we realize that this habit's not serving us, and we want to break that habit, there is no reinforcement in the actions I'm taking to break the habit. There's no funning it. There's no reward. There's no dopamine hit. So, if that prefrontal cortex is pushing against that habit circuit, and it just can't push it out of the way, then what do? And this is why that willpower, right? We know we shouldn't eat the potato chips, and we beat ourselves up every time we do eat the potato chips, and the next day we feel lethargic because we ate all those potato chips. This is why I'm a huge advocate on not focusing on breaking the habit, but focusing on building a new habit that serves us, and letting that old habit just stop feeding, no pun intended, but just stop feeding that habit. Let that habit wither and die on the vine, because we're going to put our focus on building this new strong habit. But it's important in knowing how habits are formed and why it's so hard to break those habits. Now, if you wanted to go down the rabbit hole of actually breaking the bad habit, I'm going to give you a little bit of a bonus here. For me, I've found that awareness is the best tool in cracking that habit, in breaking that habit. Awareness. What do I mean by that is I become aware that I'm actually taking that action. And if I spend time in awareness, then by definition, I'm already starting to break away that habit. Because habits are automatic behaviors. So I'm automatically doing something. I'm doing it unconsciously. But if I now become aware and I bring consciousness into it, then I'm chipping away at that habit. How do I become aware? 2 ways I know that are extremely powerful. 1, meditation. Here's a video for meditation. You're going to sit there and say, meditation doesn't work. I'm going to say, you're the exact person meditation's meant for. Check it out up here. Next, the best way I've become aware of my surroundings and being in the present moment is practicing something I learned from Japan. Japan's rail system had a problem with accidents, and they instituted what they call Shisha Kenko, and it literally means point and call. You can do it right now while you're sitting there. Look around your room, and even if you don't want to actually physically point and call things out because everybody's going to be looking at you in the office like you're crazy, look at the light, ceiling, window, desk, chair, bookcase. Look around and say out loud or in your mind the object that you see. It's slowing the process down. And in slowing the process down, you then become more aware of what's going on around you. Shishikenko in the rail systems, they would literally point to a red signal as they were going down the tracks, point to a red signal, say red signal stop, green signal go, speedometer 50 miles an hour. They'd have conductors on the platforms. The left is clear, the right is clear, the platform is clear, you may go. Almost an instantaneous 85% reduction in their incidents. That's an amazing stat. Almost instantaneously, an 85% correction. That's amazing. Think about if you could just be 10% more aware, what that would mean for you. How that would change your life. And you could practice Shishikenko anywhere. Because it's just about looking around and actually seeing the things that are there, instead of just walking by them. Driving down the highway, speed limit sign, guardrail, tree, leaf, car, truck, sky, cloud, bird, animal, whatever it may be. You're slowing down the process and you're being more present. And in being more present, you are more aware. Why is this important now? As you become more aware, I'm actually eating the potato chip. This has actually worked for me. I'm eating the potato chip. You're like, no, but you're still doing the bad habit. Yes, but I'm not eating the entire bag of potato chips. I'm only having a few because now I'm aware of the action that I'm taking. And eventually, that will lead to, I'm reaching for the potato chips. I'm going to choose to reach for the cucumbers or the carrots or something else. Or I may choose not to even reach for anything. which is the ultimate benefit. So as you become more aware, as I've become more aware, I've seen a reduction in the amount of potato chips that I'm eating. Awareness is really the key, but you have to slow things down for that to happen. And don't beat yourself up. When you don't suppress the urge to have the potato chips. Become aware of the urge to have the potato chips. Become aware of how you're feeling. Become aware of what's triggering that. And in that awareness, your potato chip eating will go down. It has for me, at least. I'll leave you with this. I want you to pick one thing that you're going to become more aware of. Pick one thing that you're going to become more aware of. And start practicing being in the present moment. Start practicing Shikanko. Guys, around here, we live up in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable! And absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you guys. Have a very blessed day.